Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to understanding some pretty complex topics.
And today, we're really plunging into a fascinating source, the book of Daniel, chapter 7 specifically.
Right. Our goal here is to pull out the core ideas from this text, looking at its symbols, these beasts.
And how they connect to world powers, both in history and, well, maybe the future, too. We want to bring you up to speed quickly, challenge maybe some perceptions.
Okay, so Daniel chapter 7, diving right in, what's the first big image that, jumps out? How does this whole prophecy start?
It kicks off immediately with 4 great beasts. They come out of this great sea, which the source says is like the world, the nations.
Okay.
And these beasts, they're described as kings or, major political powers. The first one is a lion, but with eagle's wings.
A lion with wings?
Yeah, identified as Babylon. But what's really interesting is how it changes. The text says its wings get plucked off, it stands up like a man, and it's given a human heart.
Huh. So like a transformation? Less fierce, maybe?
Possibly. The source suggests maybe a humbling or perhaps a shift after its initial ferocity, a different phase for Babylon.
Interesting. Okay, so after the lion Babylon, what comes next in this sequence?
Next up is a bear. It's described as raised up on one side, and it has 3 ribs in its mouth.
A bear. 3 ribs. Any idea what that points to?
The source identifies this as the Medo-Persian Empire. The posture raised on one side maybe suggests its dominant partner, Persia, or just its sheer power, and the ribs probably symbolizing key conquests.
Right. Medo-Persia. Okay, following the historical timeline then, the third beast.
That would be a leopard. But this one has 4 birds' wings, and even stranger, 4 heads.
4 heads?
Yeah, representing Greece. The source is quite specific here. Those 4 heads are interpreted as Alexander the Great's empire splitting into 4 separate kingdoms after he died.
Okay. So the prophecy lines up with that historical detail.
Exactly. It reinforces the interpretation.
Then we hit the 4th beast, and this one sounds different. Terrifying, super strong, iron teeth, just crushing everything.
Oh, absolutely. It's described as unlike any of the others, really dreadful and strong.
And who is this one supposed to be?
The source identifies it clearly as Rome, its power, its military might, the iron teeth symbolizing its crushing dominion.
And it has horns, too.
10 horns, which the text says are 10 kings, or later interpretations suggest the division of the Roman Empire into, well, about 10 successor nations or kingdoms in Europe.
And its terrifying nature. Is there a reason given?
Yes. The source directly links its fearsome character to its persecution of God's people.
Okay, so Rome. But the story hasn't stopped with just the 10 horns, does it? There's something else that emerges.
Precisely. This is crucial. Among those 10 horns, another horn comes up, a small horn.
A small one. What's special about it?
It has distinguishing features. Eyes like a man, suggesting intelligence or cunning, and a mouth speaking great words.
Great words.
Yeah, and the source gets very specific, identifying this small horn as what it terms the Babylonian papacy.
Wait, the papacy? How does it connect to the horns?
The source claims it rose to power by uprooting 3 of the previous 10 horns, specifically naming the Heruli, the Vandals, and the Ostrogoths. These were barbarian kingdoms that rose after Rome fell.
Okay. And those great words it speaks. What kind of words are we talking about?
According to the source, they're blasphemous. Things like claiming divine authority, claiming the power to forgive sins actions the text says only God can do.
Wow. So a direct challenge, according to the source.
Yes. And there's more. The source says this power aimed to change times and laws.
Change times and laws? Like what?
Specifically, the text points to changing the Sabbath observance from the 7th day, Saturday, to Sunday, and also altering the 10 commandments, like removing or minimizing the 2nd commandment against idolatry. It's presented as a fundamental shift away from God's stated commands.
Okay, that's a lot to unpack. So bringing this ancient text forward, what about this whole Sabbath idea? The source seems to give it more weight than just a day off.
It really does. Symbolically, the source connects the 7th-day Sabbath to the 7th millennium, a future time of ultimate rest for creation, the millennial kingdom.
But didn't you just say this power tried to change it?
It did, but here's a really interesting nuance the source brings out. While the small horn attempts the change, the deeper spiritual truth presented is that, quote, in the Holy Spirit, all days are Sabbath.
All days. So it's not just about Saturday or Sunday.
Exactly. The emphasis shifts. Christ becomes our true rest. So it's less about which specific day and more about entering into that rest in Him making every day a day of rest, spiritually speaking.
That's a profound shift in perspective. But the source also includes a warning, right, about the future.
Yes, it does. It projects a future scenario where Satan attempts to completely abolish the true idea of Sabbath rest and instead establish a mandatory Satan worship day.
A Satan worship day, that sounds intense.
It's presented very starkly, potentially linked, the source suggests, to the mark of the beast, that symbol 666, which might control buying and selling, forcing allegiance. It's framed as Satan's final act of defiance against God's judgment.
But it's a prophecy.
Okay.
Does it end there? With his forced worship?
No, thankfully not. The prophecy clearly shows the judgment and ultimate destruction of all these opposing powers. The beasts, especially that fourth beast and the small horn, they don't last.
So what's the final outcome?
The climax is the triumphant return of the Son of Man, identified as Jesus. He receives an everlasting kingdom. And the best part, for you listening,
Yes?
is that the saints, God's faithful people, are the ones who ultimately receive and inherit this eternal kingdom. They reign with him. It's a message of ultimate victory and vindication.
Wow. Okay. So after exploring all of that from Daniel 7, what does this mean for you, our listener, today? What does it mean to live in that rest, knowing, as the source says, all days are Sabbath in the Spirit?
And maybe something to really mull over. Considering the source's warning about forces trying to change times and laws, how might you discern truth when foundational principles are challenged? What could it mean for you personally to acknowledge truth publicly, even if, hypothetically, it meant facing opposition related to something like a future globally enforced Satan worship day? A challenging thought to leave you with.